Hello, everybody. Mr. Vinnie, Funk Master V Vineyard is back to make us laugh again.
Well, I hope that's what's happening today.
Oh yeah, you're funny, Vinnie.
If we're in the mood to laugh, I hope I bring it. If we're going to cry, I can sing some songs. Whatever you want to do. We make it rain over here. I'm a rainmaker.
Well, we can cry or laugh or whatever. I mean,
Right now, I'm digesting some bad Chinese food, so we'll see what the mood strikes here in about 20 minutes.
Bad Chinese food earlier.
Yeah.
I like it's good bad though. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, I mean I like the crappy. I don't like a bougie Chinese restaurant. It seems wrong. Paying $35 for crab rangoon, that doesn't look right.
That's like our local. It's really good, but it's dear.
Ours is like, this one's got like a sweatshop, got a vibe kind of going on there, and everybody screams at each other in the back, so that's kind of what makes it good.
Oh yeah. All right. So, what do you got going on?
Well, in terms of the paranormal, we just got back from a project that I had been working on for over a year. It's kind of weird. We've been drawn back. I'm part of a paranormal TV show called Wrestling with Ghosts. It's on a couple small networks, but we're starting to put those things out on YouTube, and we put this one out that we just got back from. But we went to the most remote location on the East Coast. It's a ghost town called Proctor, North Carolina. There's no roads or highways or railroad tracks to it. You have to hike about 22 miles to get to it.
Wow.
Which I'm too old and fat for that, so we took a boat ride, and we only had to hike about a little bit less than a mile to get to it, but which was more my speed and my group speed. But my brother had hiked through there, and my brother doesn't believe in paranormal stuff, and he kept saying every night this ghost, he didn't know what it was. He said there was a voice outside of his tent that said, "You need to get out of here," and he'd look outside going, "What the hell?" And it's a great story. It takes about a half hour to tell this story about how he almost got killed in this area of North Carolina. But and he doesn't believe in the paranormal. He thought it was a guy out there screwing around with him, and it kept happening as he was hiking. But he was in a lot of danger because he was an amateur hiker, and he was walking through this area. He was hiking by himself, and he didn't tell anybody where he went. But the forest, the national forest people, the schmucks, I don't know what you call them, the forest geezers, they were baiting for bear. So he was attacked by a bear twice on his hike, and he had to actually fight one with his stick. And he ran from one for about a half a day. He made an effigy of himself out of his old clothes so the bear would go attack it as he ran off. It's a crazy story. But so we decided to go back there. And we made a movie a couple years ago called The Hike, which is about a Cherokee legend of Spearfinger. And that's part of where she traverses, or according to legend. So, or where she traversed. So, we went out there, and it was pretty wild. The girls were scared because there were bears in the area. And but we were able to go urban explore. We found some buildings that really weren't marked. We almost got lost in the woods. Somebody who sounded like Luke yelled for us in the right direction, and we didn't. I don't know. So we were trying to find a church. Couldn't find the church, and so we started going. We started finding these weird buildings, these ruins of buildings, and we were like, "This isn't really on the map or anything." And we got and the light started to dissipate because it was sunset, and we got stuck, and we were like, "Holy crap! We don't know where the trail is." And everything starts to change when the sun starts to set in the mountains. And I was like, "I'm going to have all my friends killed." And we heard a voice of Luke, who's my tag team partner, the 6'8" big Luke guy with the long flowing hair.
You mean the guy who said Proctor was definitely a painted town along the bottom?
Yeah, we heard his voice, and we followed it, and we made it to the trail, and then later we were like, that's really weird because Spearfinger is a mimic, and we don't know what that was. So that was it kind of led us to safety. And if you watch the episode, there's a lot of interesting EVPs, but mainly there was a cemetery there that we found, and it was a lot of urban exploring. But the other hiccup on that was none of us, like I said, like hiking, and none of us are campers. We're all city people that like electronics and air conditioning, and God bless the people that like to hike. And it was a fun trip, but we missed Hurricane Helene by about 30 hours. And Hurricane Helene, that's the one that hit North Carolina so bad, and there was almost 300 people died in that. And just it's insane down here what happened to this area in those mountain towns. But they said there the floodwaters rose about 22 feet, and where we were, that would have submerged the house, which was the only significant structure we could have sought refuge in. The other thing is, too, you don't have any cell phone. I'm saying it's the most remote town or former town in the East Coast, and there's, we would have been at the mercy of the forest rangers trying to rescue us. We probably would have been on the roof of the house, which would have been comical. A 100-year-old house with a bunch of fat pro wrestlers falling through the shingles, probably. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Vinny, that's wild. So that was what was the scariest moment? The person talking to you with a disembodied voice, or were there other scary things?
Well, that actually saved us. It was eerie. It was pretty eerie. I mean, our girl Candy, who's in the group, she woke up. She could have swore that she heard a bear outside of her tent, and she stayed up for hours after that. Then probably said it's probably Luke's son, who's about 6'8" himself. She was like, it probably wasn't a bear. It was probably Mikey, who was in a tent snoring. But she had a lot of anxiety. That was interesting to see. She, I don't know. Girls think about things a little differently than men do, generally speaking. Not everybody, but if you take city girls, they're worried about bears. They're worried about anything bad happening. When you kind of book something like that, you don't think like, wow, if somebody twists an ankle, we are royally screwed out here. Like, there is no traffic to hell. There is no cell phone service. We're carrying one of our goofy-ass friends nowhere. There's nowhere to take him to. You have to just wait until where the boat showed. Hopefully the boat would show back up again. And so, yeah, the whole thing was a little unnerving just for that. But there was disembodied breathing in the house that was extremely loud. And we kept saying, shut up, listen. And you could just hear this. I don't know, a guy had asthma or something. He was just, and he was just breathing in our ear and stuff. And that was pretty wild. But there were a ton of EVPs. There was female voices as we approached the city. And it was all pretty. It was all pretty. Nothing was really scary. I don't really get bothered by that stuff anyway. But there were also orange lights that were flying around the trail, and we've heard from Cherokee friends of ours that is a. Though they say those are protectors, those are like forest protectors, or that try to warn you when Spearfinger or something else is around. Yeah. And we got a message. They have a couple of the people in our group have those weird like cell phone gimmicks, which I don't put a lot of stock into those personally. But they kept saying things like, "We're trying to protect you. We're trying to help you," which is pretty odd for those devices. Even though I don't put a lot of stock into them, but it is weird that we're around a bunch of things that purport themselves, or people purport them to be, forest protectors or guardians. Yeah,
I can tell you what our experience is, Vinny. We have basically every toy, and we've had them do every weird thing you see on Zach Bagans. Because I'm just telling you, we've had it all, including we think her deceased boyfriend with the skeleton camera and all that kind of stuff. We heard his voice on a security camera. It was a Class A electronic voice phenomenon. So I find those devices, I don't think they're 100% reliable, but it's not random.
I put one next to him, and it was like murder, kill, knife. I'm like, I'm going to shut this down now. I'm good. Thank you.
Well, I wonder what it was trying to get at there. Look, we need
a nice guy.
Yeah. When you get the police involved or something, that sounds good. One of you guys is up to something. I don't know. But here's my thought about this is you can almost take anything. You can take this bottle of Jack Daniels, which I don't drink. I've got bad teeth. Or you can take, I don't know, anything electronic or anything, and you can use it as a totem. It's really what you put your energy into. Ouija boards are not evil themselves. They're just, some of them are board games made out of cardboard, but it's what the energy you put into it. So that's what we've learned too, because I was always like, I'm high touch, not high tech. I don't give a crap about these devices. These devices have never impressed me when I watch these TV shows. What impresses me is when you hear something, especially when it says something interesting, or when you see something, or when something moves. If you have a thing that's like lighting up like a Dollar Tree Christmas toy, I don't give a damn. But I have learned that those can be they can be used, and they can be tools to get some sort of evidence that is compelling. And it's not just the device itself, but it can be a totem for energy, I think.
One of Lala's favorite gizmos is dowsing rods. So what's Luke talking about?
Wow, I didn't know Luke was going to... Well, we should have him on the show. He's normally playing music right now. He's a professional musician now. And I like how he looks...
Come on. Luke, are you on Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the way he always hits on my side chicks on Facebook. I know he's on there.
Just keep going. I'll find him.
All right. I like the picture, too. He looks like he's being pleasured. In the woods. But, dowsing rods, we thought were the dumbest things ever. And I've got some crazy stories with one of my employees from back in the day that used dowsing rods. But we've used dowsing rods. And what's funny is we brought them to Proctor, and I forgot that we even had them in the bag. But and I hated that we didn't get to use them. But dowsing rods have been can yield some interesting results if you're not with somebody who has the shakes or who's hyperglycemic and they're just sitting there, the things are just. But you got to make sure everybody's sugar's right. I kind of want to talk to Luke. There's a guy that wants to book us for a wrestling match soon, so I want to see what he's doing. I haven't talked to Luke in about 10 days, and I miss him.
No, I'm sending the link.
It's funny, Luke. People always thought me and Luke just were always together, like an old married couple. And every time somebody'd see me without Luke, they'd be like, "Where's Luke?" And I'm like, "Well, he's a grown man that lives in another city. He's not in my back pocket." But
he can't be bad living in Gatlinburg.
He lives in I don't like where he lives. He lives on this mountain. If he lives on Ski Mountain, which is a terrible mountain for your transmission, but he literally, when I go over there to talk to him, he literally has bears come up and stick their face through the window. And he has to chase bears off all the time. The bears will start trying to get into the cars and rip the tar, those places that has rag tops. They'll start trying to rip through the rag top or bust the windows out.
Are you serious or joking?
Not joking. We went up. Candy, which is part of our group, came up to visit Todd. I think we saw Todd play music or something, and Amber was up there, I think, too. And we that night we saw 7 bears in the city of Gatlinburg just walking around like they were drunks. So yeah, if you ever go to Gatlinburg, which is a Tennessee version of Orlando or the Hamptons or the Branson, Missouri, or the Wisconsin Dells or whatever, or Myrtle Beach, the bears will be, and don't feed the bears. If you start feeding the bears, they're going to have to kill the bear. So a lot of people are stupid that way, but
that's the motto: feed a bear, kill a bear.
Yeah, a lot of people are dumb. You'll see those things on TikTok or something, and they're like, "Oh, come here, bear! Here, eat this cheese sandwich," and they gotta euthanize it because it'll start going crazy. Like, hey, these guys are nice. I'm gonna get in their lap and chew on them. Look at this schmuck.
Oh, welcome, Luke.
Yeah, I gotta set up here. Can you hear me?
Nice.
Yeah, we hear you.
Nice pair of cans.
How
you doing?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, there was just a bear. There was a mama bear and two smaller cubs. Actually, they're pretty big. They're about probably 70, 80 pounds, sleeping in front of my door yesterday. So.
What? Oh my
yeah,
God.
that's just.
If they can smell something unusual, they're coming because they're very curious.
Well, let me ask you this. Luke. Is that an improvement? Because when you used to live in Cicero, the hookers would always sleep on your stoop.
Yeah. I did learn a valuable lesson that everybody should remember living in Cicero, Illinois, is do not let a hooker use your bathroom.
I remember you telling me that story. We won't say these are good people here. We won't talk about that. I miss you. I haven't seen you. When's the last time I saw you?
It's been a while. Yeah, you were supposed to come well, I mean, it was just last Sunday, but I mean.
Oh, yeah, last Sunday. We were busy, though. We were shooting a movie, which I've been editing today. It's really pretty good so far, so I'm excited.
So Lala, Bob, it's good to meet you.
Good to meet you, Luke.
Thank you for coming on.
Vinny coming on. This is his third or fourth time. He's always entertaining.
Yeah, he's a butt nut, that guy.
Well, let me throw a wrench into this. Somebody's talking about Bigfoot. Why do we care about Bigfoot so much? There is a lot. And one of the things that me and Luke do is we make horror comedy movies. There are tons of cryptids that are more interesting than Bigfoot, in my opinion. And one is even this cryptid called, or the Cherokee Legend of Spearfinger, which we made a movie about. In our neck of the woods, she purports herself to be still around, or the spirit of Spearfinger. And I think we get fixated on Bigfoot when there's a lot of other things that I think there's evidence for. I don't know why.
Here in Gatlinburg, we do get a lot of. We used to get a lot of Bigfoot sightings. To where we have a Bigfoot convention once a year or twice a year. There's two different Bigfoot conventions, and there's like a Bigfoot cheesesteak place. But ever since I quit drinking, there hasn't been any Bigfoot sightings because I used to have a bad habit of taking my hair out of the ponytail and getting naked, and run around the woods, and so.
Oh dear! So my grandfather owned a bunch of auto parts stores called Auto Parts and Service Company, and 50 billion years ago, he had one in Gatlinburg, and I like Gatlinburg. So I was born in Lebanon, and moved out of Tennessee to Alabama when I was a little over a year old. But I love.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
So you were born in Lebanon, Tennessee? My band Pimpin' Ain't Easy used to play at a bar out there called Lady Godiva's, and there was it was neat. It was owned by two British guys, and they actually flew over a bar from Great Britain, which would have cost a fortune today to move over. But it was a beautiful wooden bar, inside of the it was the old sawmill factory or something. And they used to serve fish and chips, but they used to have a painting of the naked chick, kind of looked like Lala, actually, on the back of a horse, except her feet were gigantic. I was like, whoever painted this beautiful picture of a naked woman on a horse, Lady Godiva, her feet were like NBA All-Star Shaq 22 Triple E size feet. It always bothered me. I don't know if they were trying to horse around with perspective, but that's my story of Lebanon. And there's a pretty good pizza place there in the corner downtown.
Well, now, if you want to talk about Bigfoot, though, where Vinnie lives out in Morristown.
Lady Godiva.
I don't, that's not what it is. The guy who wants to talk about Bigfoot, I'll talk about.
Lady Godiva's got big feet. That's what I was talking about. I was trying to make the guy happy.
Hey, I got you.
Yeah.
But, no, there was a very credible guy that is never, is always taught every time we've conversed for the last 25 years is always very serious, never one given to whimsy. And he's a professional wrestler, which, you know, kind of does hurt credibility. But he said he lives out in Morristown, and he said that he's seen Bigfoot out there. He was driving, one ran in front of him, then he went out in the woods a couple times, and he's got some really compelling videos. But this guy did not know much about Bigfoot, and he said that Bigfoot, it seemed like he was moving at an impossible rate. Like he'd be 100 yards to his right, and then half a mile to his left, and then behind him, and then in front of him. And it sounded like the same sound every time. And he didn't realize that a lot of people have theorized that Bigfoot is a dimensional being.
Mhm.
So
Is this the wrestler that some people call crazy?
no, he was kid crazy.
Is it Sean? Is it Shane?
Yeah.
Okay. And he lives in Morristown.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. And so that's where he said he saw Bigfoot then, is out this way.
I think you were there when he showed me the videos. And
You told me about it. I didn't see it. But yeah.
I'm like, he was walking down a path, and then you hear a bunch of trees crash behind him, and he turns around, and there's trees over the pathway. Not just like one tree fell down. There was a couple trees that had been knocked down just over the pathway, right by, about 100 feet behind him. And it's a real interesting stuff.
The only thing in Morristown is a bunch of pillheads and terrible Chinese restaurants. That's about the only thing that I've ever found here.
I've never seen a Bigfoot, but I'm terrified of werewolves, or what do you call them?
Dogman.
Fuck that. I don't want to see one. I mean, it's interesting, but I don't want to see one at all.
A dog man?
Dog man's a werewolf in there.
Isn't that every woman's dream, is to have a dude that's as loyal as a dog and is happy to see you every time you come home, and you have to take him outside to crap in the yard? I mean, isn't that every woman's dream?
Mm-hmm.
I love you, Vinnie. I really do.
You're scared of dog man. I thought that would be the wish, the genie wish. Wish number 2.
So what other cryptids have you guys seen or looked
we wanted to go up to Rhinelander, Wisconsin, because there's a thing up there called a hodag, which is supposedly like a little demon monkey, and even their high school mascot is the hodags. But really, we just wanted to go up to Rhinelander, Wisconsin, because it's about 50 miles from a place called Hayward, Wisconsin, which has a place called Coop's Pizza. That's the best pizza place in the world. So we do a lot of our paranormal investigations based on where we can eat.
There you go. That's a really good way to do it.
Well, and also hodag. I mean, come on, that's a fun word to say legally without being in trouble.
And we really wanted to do some kind of we have a friend, Fish Fisher, who we did an investigation with him at his house, because he lives on the Monee River in Bowling Green, Ohio. And I had to take a canoe across to this small island on the river called Bone Island, because it was a body dump during the War of 1812. And they're like, oh, there's human bones all over this place. I was like, man, if there was bones, they'd have washed out there. I went over there and found a clavicle. But Fish is really into Mothman, and we wanted to do something with him where we go kind of see what we can find out about Mothman. But man, everybody that searched for, I guess Mothman shows up when something bad's about to happen. So maybe we should just like dangle our guy Travis off a bridge or something and see.
Yeah. Or put some dynamite someplace you wouldn't want to blow it up and see what happens.
There's also a legend around here called the Boojum, which is from the other side of the mountain, past Cherokee in North Carolina. I can't remember the name of the town, but that is
Waynesville.
Yeah, Waynesville, and that's something we're interested in. We kind of made a movie about it.
It's a secret. It's a secret.
Spoilers.
It's a twist ending.
But yeah, that was supposedly like a really tall, almost looked like a tree ant from the Lord of the Rings movies. But he was always spying on a girl named Hootin' Annie. And he was like a big tree ant stalker that stalked women. I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that. That's my kind of tree ant. That's my kind of tree ant.
Well, yeah, there's that. But to me, I think the thing that is more interesting, this is something I want to kind of watch too, is in the Appalachian Mountains, there's ghost lights that are all over the mountain.
Absolutely.
And we did, and there's really nothing scientifically you can say. There's no cars up there. There's nobody with lights. So we went down to go visit our friend Candy, who lives in a terrible place called Tabor City, where the mayor, I think, has a razor blade stuck in him somewhere. I mean, it's just a crazy place. And that's the mayor. She told me today, I talked to Candy today. She said she went outside of her house last night, and she heard a guy about 50 feet away, sound like he was taking a dump in kind of the tree line, telling somebody, if you ever take that again, if you ever steal from me again, I'm going to rip your face off with this razor blade. There's a lot of razor blade play in Tabor City, but anyway, I digress. So, which she has children like in upstairs. I don't know. It's just not, and that's downtown in like a safe spot. It gets weirder when you get out of this thing. But we went down to go see this place called the Causey Light, or to see the Causey Light, which is a ghost light in Causey, South Carolina. And we have an episode of that online for free on our YouTube channel. You can Wrestling with Ghosts versus the Causey Light. And the crazy thing, I like these because you can see them. That's the thing about Bigfoot and stuff. Now, I know this guy in here said he saw Bigfoot once, and that's cool. But a lot of people haven't seen Bigfoot. They go running around and they can't find them and stuff. But a thing about a ghost light, I think it's a great way to get people who don't believe into the paranormal kind of interested, because you see it, and if it's in a place that makes no sense, there's no logical explanation for it. In fact, when Luke saw it, and Luke was like, dude, this is nothing but headlights. And so when we get into the car and go down and try to replicate it, it's totally a different light. And when you examine it, it's originating light, and there's like greens and reds and oranges and purples in it. And if you have a flashlight, a headlamp, a lantern, whatever, it illuminates the ground, it illuminates the trees. But these ghost lights don't do that. They don't. It's bizarre.
Well, when we saw the Causey Light, what I thought was it wasn't, either it's some kind of natural phenomenon, or there's a guy standing out in a field that there isn't a house for 20 miles in any direction, which is way more terrifying.
So yeah, it's the double dose. You get somebody out here who's like an atheist when it comes to the paranormal. What's up, Hugo? That's one of my guys. And you're out there with your friends, and it's 2 a.m. You're in South Carolina, and if you've ever been to South Carolina, you can go out on a clear day and see the back of your head. It's just completely flat. The roads go forever. You can shoot cannons down the roads and wouldn't hit a house. Plus, this place near the Green Sea, South Carolina, there's nothing there. There's no houses and nothing. So it's like what Luke said. What's scarier, a ball of light emanating from an unknown source that could be paranormal, or a weird guy with a weird, funky light that's just hanging out at 2 a.m. when your friends are going, "Hey, look down there." That, to me, is much creepier than the paranormal thing. So it's a good way to get, your little hairs on the back of your neck all sticking up and stuff.
So, does anybody think it might be a UFO at all, or this is?
Okay, I
don't know.
I've never really talked to Vinnie about this, maybe once or twice, but when I was a police officer, everybody drank. Every time I mentioned that I used to be a cop, everybody's got to drink.
It used to be a lot more annoying than it is now.
Me and another officer were standing out in a park that's not too far from here, and we're just looking around, and it's probably 3-4 in the morning. We look up and we're like, "Oh, look, a UFO!" And it was just like a big black wedge slowly moving through the, So and there was no lights, anything attached to it. And I'm not saying, hey, if UFO, first of all, I'm a guy that believes that just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I believe everybody's story until I don't. But if all UFOs are basically the same, then there's no lights emanating from them, because we saw it, and that's But I do think that it could be I also believe, I believe a lot in different energy dispersions, and I'm the energy flow of the world. So it could be those ghost lights could be just a collection of energy, or it just also could be, like they say, swamp gas. But I mean, Vinny's had swamp ass. I don't.
Hey, look, you gave me this for Christmas one year. This ass lotion, it's taking care of all issues south of the border, and I thank you for that. That was an Amazon gift for Christmas.
It's what good friends do.
Thank you for that.
The two of us, we've had triangles, cylinders, weird shaped craft, helicopters that fly over and put everybody to sleep, and we'll only know about it because the security cameras caught it while we were in a trance. So we get UFOs a lot.
Well, there's a we were talking about the Smoky Mountains earlier, and there is a lot of rumor that there is a secret military base in a cavern here that does also have pulses that come out of the ground that you can't get too close because you'll just knock out, then you'll pass out, and then you'll wake up not where you passed out. That's Can
I add a caveat to that? I'll just put a pin and you can keep it up. Stranger Things. Am I right about this? Stranger Things, even though it's when you watch the show, it's somewhere else, but a lot of people think it is based on that rumor about the Smoky Mountain military base.
I've heard that.
Okay, I've heard that too. I'm not a huge Stranger Things fan.
Montauk's on Long Island.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, it's anyway, go back. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And we're not far from. There's another cavern that was made. This is a known military installation under the Biltmore House in Asheville.
Yeah.
Asheville, not Nashville. Asheville, which is. But that was a military base built in a bunker. There's no reason to doubt that when they were building the one in Asheville that everybody knows about, that they also built a secret one, 50, 100 miles away. In the mountains. But yeah, there's some weird technologies going on, because there's also a unexplained thing called the Devil's Circle that's in that same area up in the mountains over here, where like it's a circle that nothing grows in, real hard to get to, but they said if you fall asleep in it, you'll wake up outside the circle. A lot of people do think that that's a vent from the military base, or maybe the power source for whatever the pulses are that they have.
The Devil's Campground.
Yeah, Devil's Campground, Devil's Circle.
I had no idea.
Oh, hey.
I'm about ready to go sleep there and see.
No.
Or the Devil's Gun. Fee, fi, fo, fum.
Oh, fum. I smell the blood of a redneck going to sleep in my circle. Oh my God.
But
Luke, do you not have a show tonight?
No, I actually have a Tuesday off. It's weird.
Good for you.
Well, it's
I'm
getting
proud.
cold out, so my shows have slowed down. But yeah, I usually play six nights a week. I'm only 5 nights this week, so.
Yeah, that stinks. Yeah, what's your Cash App so somebody can give you money because you're losing money this week?
I don't need it.
Cash App, Big Luke Walker, or Fuzzy Nuts.
Yeah,
He's got two for two different reasons.
That's for my onlyfeet.com.
So what have you been working on lately, you guys?
Well, we just started filming our 4th movie in the Smoky Mountain Chronicles. So not only we were a tag team for a long time until we got too old and our bones started to hurt. We did a lot of comedy videos, and then during COVID, Luke said, let's make a movie. And when Hollywood stopped production, it gave us the ability to get our movies seen. So we started making 4 movies. You can kind of see them on your screen there. There's like my face under science, like right covering Science Bob's fig leaf, where that would be. And anyway, those are 3 of our movies. There's actually, you can see 4. There's one we helped co-produce, but those 3 movies there are part of the Smoky Mountain Chronicles, which me and Luke agree. Neither one of us are from here, but when people talk about Bigfoot, and no offense to the guy that likes Bigfoot or anybody that likes Bigfoot, or if there's a movie about New York or LA, it's like there's so many great stories that haven't been told in the Smoky Mountains and legends and lore. So we started making these horror comedies about the legends and lore of the Appalachian South, the Boojum, Rabbit Man, Spearfinger. The thing that he's talking about, the Science Lab, is a movie that is going to be the 6th or 7th movie that we make. It's actually a really cool zombie movie that he's written. And so, I mean, there's all these legends and lore. Oak Ridge, but anyway, we're starting our movie about Oak Ridge, which is where they made the atom bombs that they dropped on Hiroshima. And
except for Oak Ridge is the front city. Every major nuclear research facility has a front city that everybody knows about, and then a side city where everything actually happens. Like in Chicago, you have Argonne National Laboratories is where everybody knows, but the actual lab is Fermi Lab, which is here. Oak Ridge is, and it's tactical, but Oak Ridge is like where everybody thinks the nuclear bomb and everything was, but it was actually at the NFS in Irwin, Tennessee. But the supercomputer is in Oak Ridge.
And so we're making a movie about the legend of the supercomputer and all that creepiness. So and it's going to be ridiculous. So we started shooting that last Sunday, and that was a wild experience. That was the biggest production we've ever. I was so stupid. I was like, I'm going to go out and film it, and I don't need anybody's help. I don't want to bother anybody. And then eventually, I was like, I should let anybody wants to come help. And so we had like 6 members of Big and Funky come out to help, and thank God we had almost 50 extras. Where we were shooting was gigantic, and it was hard to move around. If I didn't have everybody's help that day, we wouldn't have been able to finish. So it was awesome that the team came out when I was just kind of stupid.
Let me know when the Oak Ridge stuff. I wouldn't mind coming out and helping.
Okay, yeah, we'll be filming that in the next 2 or 3 months, and it's going to be there's not going to be a movie like that that's ever been made. Let me just put it that way. It's a wild movie. So
I like a place where you can work at a high tech place and live in a place called Turkey Creek, which I did for 18 months.
Well, also right next to Oak Ridge is the high tech place. Right next to it is Wartburg.
Yeah.
So and a place called Penis, Tennessee, that me and Luke used to wrestle. We went to there's a sign there. No, it's Petros, isn't it? I don't know what it's called. Oh, Petros. But me and Luke used to wrestle at this town or this high school or this elementary school or something. And it said, if you want to know what's wrong with the school systems in America, there was a sign that said Petros Elementary School, school closed Friday, wrestling Saturday, which if you're wondering why everybody's kind of just getting dumber, maybe that's part of the reason. But that's an actual true story.
And that will also be always known as Penis, Tennessee, because this guy autocorrect got a guy on a video that tried to where he was at. He was trying to cut this real bad guy wrestling promo. He's
on
standing
Facebook.
there, and then the description said this Saturday in Penis, Tennessee, and we're like, ha!
This dude's from Penis, Tennessee. That's. I wonder what the property value is out there, and why is my mom always out there?
Yeah. So every time I want to confirm what Big Luke said. So there's the cafeteria building, the supercomputer building, and the National Security building, and all the old World War II buildings. But underneath the National Security building, there's a city.
That would be the Biltmore. That's the city is in Biltmore. That's the known city underground is Biltmore, and that's where all the politicians. It's where Congress is supposed to go if there's ever a natural disaster or any kind of natural disaster. They're all supposed to go.
Of government.
Oh wow!
Yeah. What are you talking about? Biltmore, the in Asheville.
Yeah, the Biltmore Estates has a city underneath that you can go and visit every once in a while, but that's where, in case of a national emergency, that's where all the politicians are going.
There are several continuity of government underground facilities in case the Russians actually fire a nuclear weapon.
Yep. Yeah, and there's also one in Langley. There's another one in Langley that's where all the intelligence agencies are supposed to go underground is in Langley.
And
another one.
There are others in West Virginia and Pennsylvania,
Georgia?
South. I don't know if there's one in Georgia. Probably because of the big military bases.
Yeah, there is one out in Nevada as well.
Yeah, his friends isn't. Am I not supposed to talk about that?
Go ahead. I don't care.
What's her name? Your friend? I forgot.
Oh, you mean Melinda Leslie?
Yeah, she's going to the Dom's bases, right?
There's an underground military base that's now being videoed every night with triangle craft and other things coming out of the ground, escorted by military aircraft near Sedona, Arizona. It's about to blow wide open.
And that's the same thing going on with like the Denver airport, isn't there? There was always just rumors of an underground city there that they were actually, but then that got into the whole Alex Jones lizard people with gay frogs realm for some reason.
They're turning the frogs gay?
The freaking frogs.
They're turning the frogs gay! I miss the fun Alex Jones, not the evil Alex Jones, but because he was a trip. Now, have you guys, since you're into all this nutty stuff here, have you heard of the Doomsday device in North Dakota? I really want to see that. Have you guys heard anything about that?
I have not. Don't know anything about it.
Well,
it's the tablets.
No, it's a pyramid. It's an actual pyramid that they built. It's a military base, and it's called America's Pyramid. Look it up, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's like 20 miles from the Canadian border. I really want to check it out, but I didn't know if anything crazy UFO. But it's a defunct military base. There's nothing wrong with gay frogs. Hey, whatever floats their little froggy boat. I'm for it.
I mean, I don't have anything wrong. I've got gay frog friends, so
exactly.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You're not one of those guys. You sound one of those guys right before he says something awful. Now I've got gay frog friends, but and it's like, oh my god.
No, there was no butt involved, if you know what I mean.
This guy from a Sci TV. Well, if there's no butt involved, how are they gay? Ew. This guy from a Sci TV's drunk. I would put him in timeout for 20 minutes.
Though all of our movies and Wrestling with Ghosts and Vinnie's Fantastic Rock and Roll Adventure can be seen on ASY TV, SI TV.
Yes, that's actually the guy that runs the network that some of our stuff's on. So,
okay,
but he's a deranged human being.
He's very lonely.
He runs around and it's weird. He stays with me sometimes, but he'll chase cars. I don't know what that's. He'll go chew on the tires of the neighbors' cars and stuff. You got to hose him down. I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah, he can't figure out light switches. It's real weird. It's
yeah. Oh, and I got a new show on this network called Weird Roads, and that's actually we went out and we shot several episodes of that, but there's some paranormal elements to that. This was, I don't know. We'll talk about that at another time. But yeah, check out Weird Roads on Sci TV. That was a fun little show that we filmed.
I didn't get an invite to participate in that.
Well, he's always talking about not being invited anywhere. Is Lala okay, or did the alien get her, or what happened?
The dog is having a fit.
Oh my god!
And scratching our bedroom door and gonna scratch.
You gotta throw like a whole bunch of raw hamburger meat on the floor before you start doing a show. There's somebody in the chat named Tennessee Kentucky Bigfoot. I don't know what that means.
He's one of our regulars.
What does that mean? Does he live in both? Is he so large he lives in both states at the same time?
Yeah, he is probably on the border.
He's just laying across the border. Interesting.
Could be.
I don't know, man.
I've seen a Bigfoot.
The border there. That's Jellicoe. You don't want to go to Jellicoe.
There was a Caribbean Jamaican jerk restaurant there in Jellicoe, Tennessee. It did not last long. I wonder why. But that was a strange restaurant to have right off the Beltway there, going up. You all right? What's that? What are you doing?
What?
You. What was that face?
My cat's cuddling on me.
Oh, okay. That was a strange face for a cat cuddle.
Was...
We have spots in Kentucky and Tennessee. So this guy, he lives in Kentucky, and he's got property in Kentucky and Tennessee. That's nice. And so, have you seen Bigfoot, sir?
Yeah, come on. Have you seen Bigfoot?
Or is he just wanting to see Bigfoot? Some of my best frog friends are gay. This is pretty good. So you got people in the chat who are humorous.
They get it.
I have a question for Luke. When you were a police officer, did you ever experience anything paranormal? Or
yes,
I'm very much into learning about possession shit now.
Okay, there was a few things. I'll go through one real quick. Is what really got me actually to where I found I really started believing in God was when I was giving a guy CPR, and I knew he was gone. But when I was giving him CPR, the lights and just started to be like swallowed inwards, and then pop, they snapped, and the lights were just bright again. And I was like, that guy went to hell.
Ooh.
And that so that was, and there was another officer there that backed me up, but no, there was
that you actually used that story as inspirato for a scene that you did improv in the movie WJHCAM.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty good.
But then
also
good. there was another thing that where a guy, we were in, me and the same the same officer were in another room during a hospice visit, and we were in the other room, and we actually knew he died and went up. You could just feel it, the whole thing. So that was, but paranormal wise, yeah, quite a few things. Our first episode, Wrestling with Ghosts, went through one where at 9 o'clock on Christmas morning, cops don't do nothing on Christmas Day unless we're called to it. So that we just go and park. And I parked outside of the Greenbrier Hotel at 9 in the morning. And I look over and I see there's a girl in the hotel or in the restaurant. It's a Greenbrier restaurant. And on the patio, I see a girl standing there. Then I notice that she's standing in a table, not at a table. She's in the table. And so I go to reach. This is how long ago it was. I reached in my pocket for my BlackBerry Storm so I could get a picture. And when I pulled the picture up, it was gone. But I got on the radio and I was like, there's a female inside. And this old guy, Pat Myers, comes up, backs me up and goes, it's just Lydia. My wife works here. We see her all the time. And then we did an investigation and we kind of found out a lot about Lydia. Vinnie was flirting with her and everything. It turns out she was 15.
There's no laws about the flirting with underage undead.
But one of the most messed up ones was I didn't see it, but we responded with or not more officers, obviously, but we responded to a hotel room where a guy was literally he was just way out of it. And his daughter's like, yeah, he's screaming about this place being covered with blood and three guys just yelling in a language he doesn't understand. It sounds like Russia, or it sounds like Russian. And, he's having all these panic attacks and he needs to get out of here, but he can't move. And so our sergeant goes, this is the room where those 3 Russian guys killed those.
Oh,
Oh my God.
just a little possession. Hope it was temporary.
Yeah. So, there was always a lot in law enforcement. If you kind of, but when you're in law enforcement, you kind of always look for the factual.
Right.
You're not really looking. But there's been a lot of times where, things didn't add up, and wasn't too many times where I saw actually, when people, that's the thing when people were like, oh, ghosts ain't real. I was like, okay, but I saw one. So, go talk to somebody else about that. Or I've seen a few. Vinny's seen a few now. So, you can't tell us they ain't real because we've seen them. That's
well, we've captured. That's the other thing too. We've captured them on. Hey, how you doing? They go. The fembots are here. It's awesome. We're out in the beet fields, bringing in the crops. But anyway, we've captured someone on camera, and it's like, whatever. Yeah. I'm always like, why is our show not more popular? Because it's like we've captured at least 3 entities on camera that, and there's been others that we were like, we don't know if this was lights or something. Man, one of the coolest ones ever, and I don't know if this is real, but one of the coolest ones was we were in a ghost town in the Smoky Mountains, and Luke captured a giant Native American man's face just floating in front of the camera. And we were kind of like, I don't know what that is. That could be lights or whatever, but that's not even one we chalk up to that was a definitive ghost.
But it was a face right in front of the camera looking at me. Then you look away up from the camera. There's no face.
Yeah.
There's nothing to give an image of a face. But then you look back at the camera and there's a face just looking at you. It was crazy. And
what was crazy is it was Native American looking with the Native American features. And then when I threw a Diet Coke can on the ground outside, a little tear started to come down.
But then I saw another.
Ponytail.
Oh my God.
And then we were at we don't like to do outdoor graveyards very much. They're fun, they're visual, so we'll do them. But we were actually at this cemetery because of the church we're doing. But we're outside in the cemetery, and again, here I am through the camera. There's a ghost, and I'm trying to get Travis. Travis, come here and look at this ghost. And he's just like, hold on, I'm Snapchat.
He's on the Snapchat. Those young kids in the Snapchat always trying to get their wiener looked at.
Millennials.
Trying to get some flesh. Send me some flesh. It makes me feel like I'm loved. And we're like sitting there like we're seeing a Confederate soldier walk through the graveyard. But that's not cool enough for you. But that one made the episode too. We'll release that one on YouTube soon. But you can see all this stuff. Yeah, we'll see. You can watch all this stuff on Asai TV. The drunk owner of the place is in the chat for some reason tonight.
Spamming the chat because
spamming emojis. Yeah, he always says he wants to be invited, and when you invite him, he always has some sort of like gonorrhea situation happen. Crops up,
or he just sits there and plugs things over and over and over.
Or he'll go.
Everything's a segue. Yeah.
A lot of the ghost shows that are on TV that are popular never show any ghosts at all. So, and that's what we want is to see what you guys are capturing.
I think they're covered by constraints. Also, I don't think their scenes are as pure. Like it looks like there's 4 people at the scene, but there's like we've seen those. There's like 40 people at the scene. And I just don't think, and what they're doing is, a lot of those paranormal shows, I'm a big fan of Hawes and Gonsalves, the original Ghost Hunters. And I think those guys are pretty legit, but everybody else I've got questions about. But
well, we know. I mean,
what we do is kind of very much what Steve and Dave Tango do. Yeah. Is we have fun with it. And when we have fun with it, it seems like we have a lot more things that want to interact with us. Right. People always say, well, how come your show gets all these EVPs? How come your shows you guys got to be big? And it's like, no, we're not going, it's a demon of death and demons with death and demons. It is, we're positive energy. And I think with that it tends to draw a lot more activity than negative energy.
Oh yeah.
Tammy wants to see a soldier coming, or she needs to come up here and let her take her get it for her.
Yeah.
If you want to watch Wrestling with Ghosts on Asai TV, there's an episode called "They Died with Their Booze On" because we love great puns.
That's a terrible pun.
And that's when we were at a church in Morristown, Tennessee. It was a split church that half the participants were Southern rebel Confederate soldier sympathizers, and then the other half was Union. A lot of people don't realize East Tennessee was pretty much all Union, but there was still a mixture. And so there was a lot of energy and contention in that place. There was actually a cannonball that went through the church, which is normally off limits. And the cemetery, the graveyard outside was mixed. You could have a brother who was a Union soldier, and they'd bury him in one spot, and then you could have his other brother died, and he was a rebel, and they would bury him somewhere else. And that's where we saw what looked like a Confederate soldier walking through the graveyard, but Travis was too involved with exchanging flesh pictures with some weird girl that has daddy issues.
Another place we got to check out that's kind of a cannonball shot through it is we went to this theater to watch our friend Brittany, who stars in Camp Smokey with me. We went to see her do a play at this playhouse in Greenville, Tennessee, where there's a cannonball in the side of it from the war. But man, that place was awkward. I just did not feel right in certain places of that theater.
At the Greenville Theater?
Yeah.
Did we saw the one where she was like what was My Man Godfrey, right? Okay. Yeah.
There was some that theater had some awkward spots in it. And I'd love to go check that place out.
I bet. That place sounds interesting. So when I've been in the woods near Oak Ridge, and I saw some weird crap in there.
What did you see?
Lots of weird stuff. I saw
homeless guys.
I saw orbs and other stuff. I saw things that looked like people, but it was too dark to make out any features.
Now that's also the area where they have those. No, that's the area that they have those rumors of those things they look like legs with a paddle sticking out of them. But I forget what they call those, Vinny. Remember that they said in the Wares Valley and out in Oak Ridge, and I forget what they call those things. They said they look like legs with a paddle sticking out of something. Crawlers.
Oh, yeah, the weird white thing. Or they look.
Yeah, they're white.
It looked like they got white gowns on. Yeah. Weird.
Okay. I don't know. Super spatula people. I don't know, but like Oak Ridge is. You don't even have to believe in paranormal stuff to see weird stuff. My dad used to work in Oak Ridge, and my dad is such a freaking square. He would we'd say, "What do you see out there?" And he'd be like, "I can't tell you. They're listening to the phones." He was a nut job. But anyway, he was like, "I can't tell you anything. They'll come and ask you questions and take you away if I tell you what I've seen." I'm like, "Oh, brother." But anyway, he did tell me one time he did leave out a door he probably wasn't supposed to see. And there was a field next to one of the laboratories out there. I don't know if I think he worked for Y12, I think. I can't remember.
Y12 is where all of the nuclear stuff
Okay. So he said he looked across the field, and he said it was about 2 or 3 feet of nothing, but then above that there was this blue haze. Almost looks like this sign in the background here. Just this blue haze that went all the way across the field, and he just sat there and was like, okay. And he tried to get back into the building because he was like, whatever that is, that's radioactive as hell. And Luke and I believe...
It was Jimi Hendrix.
Luke and I believe that all this paranormal stuff, and even the portals that you guys talk about or ghost lights, it's all energy anyway. So, I mean, if there's a crap ton of radioactive material, no wonder people see weird stuff. Anything that we don't understand can use that energy. And radioactive energy is
well, and also that area
is better than batteries, than camera batteries.
Yeah, that area in Oak Ridge and La Follette have very magnetic ley lines that run through them, and that is something that Vinnie found out. Like there's a crossing of ley lines in La Follette, Tennessee, and then apparently there's it goes through Oak Ridge. I never looked at the ley line maps or anything, but they said that the magnetic currents go through that area pretty hard.
Yeah, we're pretty dumb when it comes to a lot of the paranormal stuff. We also try to remain kind of willfully ignorant because we want to just kind of experience things and tell people. But like when we say things like La Follette, Tennessee is one of the most haunted cities that we've ever experienced because there's just so much stuff going on in so many spots. One of these shows, it might have been with Science Bob or somebody, a show like this, but somebody said there's 3 overlapping ley lines in La Follette, and I'm not sure what ley line means, but my ex-wife used to get laid a lot in La Follette, Tennessee, so I wonder if there's some sort of correlation because she always said she was going to the movies with her sister.
You always have to bring that up. I apologized, man. I've apologized profusely.
Well, tell me what was it about La Follette that made you guys just like you guys were always together and nothing happened, but in La Follette it was just like, was it the ley line? You guys were just magnets.
It's because when I was in my time of need, getting chased through the old post office by a ghost calling my name. You were out at the all-night cheeseburger diner, did not have my back. So it was retribution.
Right. When you're in Tennessee, they have a 24-hour hamburger bar. I mean, and you're not near Knoxville. I mean, that's pretty, you got to take advantage of that. And I'm sorry that happened to you, but I'm glad my ex-wife made you feel better about all that. But that's the ley lines, folks. I'm glad we could educate people about the paranormal. Any more questions, send it to the producer of the show. We'll educate you guys right up.
And we will happily make some to tell, yeah.
Okay, Luke? So I'm allowed to ask one more question, but after that I would like you guys to promote anything that you're working on or anything you want to promote at all, you can. But my last question is about shadow people. I've seen them twice. One, they didn't have legs. It was just like the torso. And other ones, it was a whole body, had legs. But there's different types, right? They have the hat people or hat man.
Hat man.
Have you experienced anything like that, or someone you know? It's interesting. Nobody knows what they are.
I saw the weirdest thing. I used to work overnights at a hotel. Vinnie was about to drink. I used to work overnights at a hotel, and it was where the Rocky Top murders took place. They had taken that hotel down and put a new hotel on there. Though I would occasionally, me and several other people would see Valentine, who was the security guard that was murdered. We would see him quite often. But one night I was in there and I saw shadow birds.
Wow. I never heard of that.
Creepy.
Yeah, they were just. I mean, that's the best thing I can say. They were their absence of light. The best way I think I could describe was birds, but it was like balls that were literally flying around the room. And I was like,
weird.
Yeah, I mean that shadow people. I've seen some shadows that are way too dark to be actual shadows. I've seen them move in different places that are wrong, but I never really thought much about it because it's. Me and Vinnie are kind of like, it's weird. You have to really get us to scare us. Mm-hmm. You have to really, I'm a little more sensitive than Vinnie to these things. Vinnie, a bat will scare him, but ghosts won't. Me, you really have to. The energy has to be real bad for it to affect me. And so when I see stuff like that, it's just like another. Like when I saw the UFOs, it was me and John or the other officer were saying like, "Oh, look, a UFO." It's just another moment in time. So it's a lot of times when we see weird things, like there was shadow people in that what's that Hales Bar Dam we went to? There was there was weird shadows in there.
Well, that looking back on that investigation, it's so funny. Like a lot of times me and Luke will get involved, like with this Proctor thing we just did this year. When we went to Hales Bar Dam, there was a region-wide flood. Luke almost hydroplaned. We were on Interstate 40 going back to Knoxville, and we almost hydroplaned on the damn interstate. That was how much water. But when we were in the Hales Bar Dam, it was flooding. It was like the flooded mine. We
were under a foot of water. We were walking through a foot of water. And
we have talked about this before, how water possibly energizes spirits. And everybody in there was flipping out because everybody's a sensitive or a medium, and they saw shadow people left and right and Wendigos and all this stuff. And we were like, whatever. But yeah, that was a wild experience. I've never really seen a shadow person. I have seen spirits. I've recorded ghosts or spirits, but I've never had the shadow people. I've heard the shadow people typically. And maybe I'm out of line here. Maybe I'm incorrect, but I've heard that's normally a nefarious or some sort of malevolent entity. And not to brag, boast, or whatever, but it seems like bad spirits don't like me. And so they always act like they're freaked out by me. And I know that sounds like a cocky shithead thing to say, but and Luke can attest, though. I've been around those machines. We were talking about these machines before Luke got on, and things will say, oh, it's the former priest, or it's Funkmaster V, or and these things are like, oh, we know who this guy is, or we know, and it's like that happens a lot around me. And what's crazy is I don't fear spiritual stuff. Luke's 100% right. A bat. Being on a ladder 3 rungs up, yes, I will pee my pants. But like the spiritual stuff, well, just to impress the ladies. But I don't. I don't know. That stuff doesn't bother me.
All right, Vinny, we put all of your show notes in our description of the show. Everybody go look at those show notes, but tell us about anything else you want to add.
Well, Luke and I are pretty much joined at the hip when it comes to everything except his music. And his music, you can see him in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, a lot of times at a place called Shamrocks. What's crazy is Gatlinburg is kind of a neat place. If you get out of your car, within about 4 blocks, you hear this guy going, whoa, my semen hole. And it just echoes. Seminole wind. I always thought it was semen hole. But anyway, you hear this guy saying all this perverse stuff echoing through this beautiful town. You can follow his bellowing voice to Shamrocks. You can hear him through the city. It's kind of fun. It's like, Luke is kind of the man about town. But we're making movies. We've made Camp Smokey, which is our newest, WJHCAM, and The Hike. You can look those up on Roku. There's plenty of places you can see them.
The easiest way to find our movies, The Hike, WJCAM, and Camp Smokey, is not to go to the apps and search. It's just on your Roku TV. There's a search bar. Just search it. It'll take you right to the.
And he's right about that. For every country, it's different too. So we're in different countries on different platforms. And these are horror comedies, low-budget horror comedies. We're very proud of them. And then we helped co-produce one called Vinnie's Fantastic Rock and Roll Adventure that our friend Brandon made, which is just a pure comedy. The other ones have kind of more of a paranormal thing. And if you go to our YouTube channel, Wrestling with Ghosts, all of our comedy stuff, some of our old wrestling stuff, it's a smorgasbord of big and funky jive.
Yeah, if you ever wonder what it would be like to mash Kevin Smith's and Sam Raimi into one low-budget movie, that's
guys got it down pat.
Yeah, our movies are wild, man. There's nobody else. We're like a low-budget. We're like a broke-ass A24 is what I think we're like. Yeah.
All right. Did you have fun?
Very.
Oh,
you guys.
We always have fun with you, Vinny. Thanks for being here.
And thanks for my friend Luke. I love Luke, and we never get to hang out anymore because he's just so damn busy. And look, Jimi Hendrix.
There you go.
Yeah,
I love my Jimi Hendrix.
I listened to him today.
Yeah.
While I touched it.
All right. So thank you, everybody.
His guitar.
We're glad Vinny and Luke were here, and you guys all have a great night.